One of the reasons I like DIY. Okay, well, let's try this again. So before finishing it off, I'm back in the studio taking some of the thrifted finds, the items that I found. I'm making them over and making them into Christmas decor. Yes, it is that time of year to start making. Some people might even have their houses decorated. Who knows? If you're new to the channel, my name is Yvonne and I am a secondhand thrifter. I love to go hunting in the wild, looking for items that I can decorate my home with. I can resell, flip for a profit, or I can make over and share my inspiration of what I would do with these items here on the channel. First off, we are taking this old crate box. It's just a brown box. It does have a little bit of wording on it, but we're going to be changing it into something festive for Christmas. Now I want to paint this box, but it is raw wood and I'm going for white, so it's going to end up probably bleeding through my white paint. So I'm going to take a few moments and I'm going to seal it in with a couple coats of shellac. Okay, so I did 2 coats to seal of the shellac to seal everything in, so hopefully it doesn't bleed through the white paint, and I'm going to be using DIY's White Swan to cover this up, to paint it and give it a new color. Ooh, the pop of white. So that'll prevent the white paint. The shellac fills in, stops the bleed through, acts as a barrier so the paint is not just soaking into that dry wood. So there's a reason for it. So go ahead and dry it in between coats so we can get a second coat on there. Well, I'm still having a little bit of bleed through, but it's okay. I didn't even think about filling the words on the box. The original words were engraved into the box, so I'm just taking some spackling and I'm just filling those in. Sometimes that happens. You're in the middle of the process and you're like, oh yeah, you'll see that. I don't think it would have been any big deal, but I was going to need to spray another coat of shellac because it was still kind of yellowing. Okay, well, let's try this again after a couple more coats of shellac, filling in that where it had some wording. Let's hope that this covers now, because I'm definitely looking for a brighter white. Okay, now that I finally got it to stop bleeding through and we're white, I'm going to seal all this in before sanding it or doing anything to it with some matte clear coat. So I'm going to be putting some wording on the box. And actually my inspiration was Frosties, which was like a Frosties drink. But look at Godwink moment. IOD came out with Frosties Sweet Shop. So that is perfect for what I want to do. So I'm going to look at my box works out. So yes, I'm going to put it right on the front, both sides, make it two-sided. I'm going to do where I do tape to hold my stamp. Just personal preference. Makes it a little bit easier for me. I'm going to fold over those sides to make little handles. It grabs some of the paint off, but I'm going to be distressing it anyway, so I didn't really care. So for my red, I want it to be pretty red, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Carnival red. I'm going to put a little bit on a plate. I'm going to use a brayer, kind of ink it up there. Paper, because I don't want to have too much on there. I can always get some more off there if I need to. Okay, I'm going to take my box. I'm going to get it in the right direction. And then I'm just going to go ahead and eyeball. I eyeballed, right? To make sure that everything's down, I'm just going to take a Cricut scraping tool. You can get like a version of this at the Dollar Tree store. Just want to make sure that everything is transferred down. The tape's nice because it helps it so it doesn't jump. Oh, I guess the second one I can do a little bit more. I can do a little bit more of the paint. That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, y'all. We just won't distress it that much. Okay, let's see if I can get it darker this time. That's why I didn't want to use ink. Okay, it is what it is. I got it down there. Well, a little bit better, but that's okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and seal in both sides. Can I make a cutting board kind of festive for Christmas? Sure, why not? So yes, I'm going to do well, it may not necessarily be like Christmas, but Christmas colors checkered board. So I'm going to be using some of the Carnival Red by DIY to paint this board up. And you know, nothing like red that speaks Christmas, right? Dry board, all I basically did was just wipe it off. Even all the imperfections to make it look like it's going to be old. One of the reasons I like DIY, not only for the colors and the way I can distress it, but I can dry it in between coats with a heat gun. So I'm going to move on to my second coat. Even though it looks like it's coverage, when I go to distress it, the distressing will take too much paint off without having two coats. I've noticed, my distressing anyway. So I'm going to spray it down a little bit with a mister bottle just to re-wet that paint and then put another coat right on top of it. You know, I have to do both sides here, so it is nice to be able to dry it with a heat gun. Okay, after doing some measuring, seeing if I'm even, I am actually going to center the checkerboard in the middle. I think that'll be close enough. I'll go ahead and get it taped down. For my main checkerboard color, I'm going to be using Little Black Dress by DIY. I like the way that this distresses when I am doing checkerboard, so I just have a sponge, makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree store. And we're just going to do that dry where you don't have a lot of paint on there, that it smushes underneath. And then you just do a tapping motion up and down, trying not to get too much paint underneath the stencil. But since we're going to be distressing it, it will be a little forgiving if it does happen. So I can dry it in between doing a second coat. Just don't put it on that stencil that's plastic very long. And then I'm going to go in with a second coat because it's just never seems to be enough coverage. And then I just try to push that stencil down as much as I can to get any spots that aren't really covered. Okay, let's make sure it's dry before taking the stencil off. That way we don't accidentally hit something and get paint somewhere we don't want paint to be. There we go. We have a black checkerboard. So now I'm going to go ahead and frame in my checkerboard. So I'm just going to take some painter's tape and run it at those squares all the way butted up to the edge. And I like them to overlap. I have a reason for that. Because I go back in with an X-Acto knife and I can run it right along. I can run it right on that paint line or that tape line and then cut it off. So there is a reason to my madness. And now to make a frame, I'm going to take another piece of tape. I'm just going to guesstimate whatever my eyeball's happy with, how far out I want it to go. Just trying to eyeball it, all being the same. So now for this, I'm going to be using some of the Aviary, which is a green color by DIY. Same technique, just taking that little sponge, makeup sponge, and then going over where I just left that space untaped. There again, I need to do 2 coats, so I'll dry it in between. Okay, after hitting it with the heat gun, we'll go ahead and take that tape off, leaving a line behind. Now I'm going to do one more frame. So now I'm just putting my tape over all the way to the edge of the green where I just painted. For the next frame color, I'm going to be using DIY's Queen Bee. Same technique. Queen Bee might take 3 coats, it all depends. I really wanted that pop of yellow, kind of like the gold. So now I have this stencil, kind of like a turtle dove, right? A little dove. And I'm going to add it onto the top, though I'm going to, as you see, the heart doesn't fit, so that's okay. We'll just eliminate the heart. So then I will just center it. I think this was folded in half almost. To be able to center. So I'm going to go down to that bottom green line, I think. And then see how much is hanging off. And then go ahead and tape it down. And then a little bit where the heart is. Not that I don't like the hearts, they don't fit on my design. So this is going to be a little bit on the tricky side. So I'm going to go in with the same green and do like the leaves and stuff like that. I'm not going to worry about trying just to eliminate the berries. And then I'm going to go back in with the yellow and do it on the yellow on the birds. We'll see how it works. And come back in with that yellow to do the bird, which is Queen Bee. And then though I didn't really stick anything down, the tulip's going to be yellow, yellow too. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Oh, nice. So now I'm going to spin it around and we're going to do the other side. Try to get it to match. So now that I have my stencil all done, I love it. Amazon folk art stencils. I'm going to seal everything in before distressing it with some polyacrylic on the clear mat. So now I want to finish up my chalkboard. This is the back side. I'm just taking some 220 sandpaper and I'm going to distress it, let it, wherever it distresses is where it distresses. The thing that I like about doing old cutting boards and using DIY paint is it shows like imperfections. It gets dark spots and light spots, which really to me gives it that old, I've been around look. Okay, now that I have it sanded the way I want it, I'm going to go ahead, aging wax right on it. That's going to deepen that red back up. Going to add some dirt. So when you sand it, that sanding's taking some of the top coat off that we sprayed on. This is also a top coat. And so it'll kind of take unevenly, but that's what's giving it that old-timey character look. And I'd like to say that I thrifted this. Is it thrifting if somebody gives it to you? So y'all have been so kind, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do one of the sheet planners from the Dollar General for Christmas. So I want to make my job a little bit easier. I do want to start off with a base of white on this. So instead of painting like 4 coats of white, I'm going to go in with some of the Rust-Oleum's enamel paint in the white and spray paint it first. So using the spray is preventing me from having to like do 5-6 coats of this, of the white swan on the sheep. I have a plan, and sometimes when you have different tones of white, it's pretty amazing. So there's a plan. So now I'm going to go over it with a coat. If it takes more than one, that's fine, but I just didn't want to have to do like 4 or 5 to cover up that gray underneath. Sometimes you got to make it easy on yourself, because the details are what's fun. Painting's fun, but the details are the funnest. To me anyway. So I flipped it over, now I'm working on the other side. I don't have to so much worry about the inside because we'll be filling that up. But I will get that little lip just in case. And if you're wondering why didn't I just leave it the white paint from the spray paint, there's just no character to a spray paint like that. It's a great primer, but when I go in to do some kind of waxing or distressing, it doesn't do that. That's what I mean, like spray paint is a great primer, but it doesn't have a lot of character, especially it's sealed, it's shiny, it's smooth, it won't grab waxes or decrepit dust or anything like that. So, but it is helping that I'm only having to do one coat of this white DIY white swan. So, loving on that. So now before doing anything else, I'm going to go ahead and seal my DIY paint in with some matte finish clear coat. So now I'm using a little black dress, and I'm going to just paint the faces of the sheep black. Okay, fun, right? Yes, I may be holding my breath while I am painting like this, right? Luckily, the little black dress is heavy pigmented. So this is one of those where you have to flip-flop, get all the angles. That's why I'm doing the middle ones first. Luckily, there's a nice groove where the face is to the wool part. So now I'm going to switch over to a smaller brush. Then we'll see how this works. And I'm going to do the inside of the ear as best as I can. And I am going to do their hooves. So before finishing it off, I need to seal in that black. So we're going back with that matte finish. And it might make my black paint a little chalky, but that's okay. The way I'm going to finish it, it'll be fine. Okay, so now I'm going to do some aging wax by Fusion. Because you know, white sheep don't usually stay white, only on show days. So I'm just going to brush it on first. I've sealed it in with clear. Now that I have the wax on all over, I'm going to take a little bit of the clear and we're just going to kind of blend it so it's just kind of in the crevices. There's a lot of detail to these little sheep. I think that's the obsession of finding them to pick them up. And then to add a variety of colors to them, I'm going to be using some of the, where is it? The DIY Decrepit Dust. Love this stuff. So tap it in. My wax is still wet, so it hasn't dried. A little bit goes a long way, so that's why I'm tapping it off. So now I'm going to go in around their faces. Look at how that just brings their little faces to life. You can use cinnamon. People do that, but I I don't know, I like it. Layering the two different aging compounds just takes this to the next level. Look at that, is that not cool? Like I said, I'm doing the whole thing. I just like the two different colors. It just really gives it that antiquing, that age. Brings out all the character. And a little goes a long way. This is my first dip of dipping my brush into the decrepit dust and then just putting it on the plate. Now I'm going to go ahead and seal it in with the clear matte polyacrylic, because like the crayon one will sometimes turn the dark paints chalky, and I don't want that to happen on my finished coat. So I have a piece of this, which is like the fake tree like you have for your pipe cleaner ones, but it's like the little evergreen. And I'm going to give the little sheepies a wreath. I just absolutely love how they turned out. So I should be able to take it and then wrap, because it's wired, and wrap it around and then cut off the excess. How cute is that? So I do want to fill this up, so I have some of the Dollar Tree foam in the blocks, floral foam. So we're just going to stick it in there. I'm going to have to cut one down. It cuts really easy. It doesn't matter what you use to cut it. The scissors will work out just fine. And then we have it kind of filled in there. And now I'm trying to match up what like ferns I have. These are, I buy wholesale, and then we're just going to go ahead and fill this up. So I'm just going to cut off, because I think if you can cut it off and spread it out, I think you get more out of your stem. And if you fill it up far enough, then you don't have to worry about hiding the floral foam. And for right now, I'll see if I love the fake pine cones. Sometimes I don't necessarily like them. I'll probably take them off right to begin with. I should know. No, I don't want them. Get some height in the middle here. I like this one because I like that it has a variety of different colors and different textures. I don't know why, I don't like the cones. So I am now just filling in with some bigger greenery. Just the way that they went in, they're a little bit like, there's too much of this darkness. So I have one of these stems that I'm just pulling off one of them, and then I'm taking a little hot glue, because the plastic doesn't just go right into the floral foam very well. So to one or two of them, I'm going to add a couple berries. I was trying to decide which, do I want bright red or do I want the little burgundy burnt? I think I'm going to do the burnt. That way this can go like even just for winter. Oh, little slippery guy. A little bit of hot glue. Right onto the little wreath that they have around their little neck. I don't know about you, but I like greenery like almost all winter long, not just for Christmas. because it's just so, you know, there's no color in the winter sometimes. So I thought with the leftover, I just spread them out and then I'll just tuck them in here and there. As I said, I don't want to make this like permanent. I want you to be able to change it out if you want. I like the deep, I like red, but I also like that deep color too. And then I think to finish it up, there are going to get a bell on there. So I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue that on. It's an afterthought, so could have wired it on, but there's just something about a rusty crusty. So I hope you had just as much fun watching this video as I did creating, working on these DIYs with thrifted items. Okay, well the sheep may not have been thrifted, but it turned out super cute, making it into a Christmas decoration, a seasonal decoration. Actually one that you can change out because I didn't glue anything to the sheep themselves, which is super fun. And I wanted to make one of those boxes for a tree that I had for my own Christmas decor, so I was happy that IOD came out with that frosty stamp. That was so cool. Yeah, red's kind of hard, you know, like, oh, please don't bleed or anything like that. And then a checkerboard, yes, yes. Red. People sometimes just add red and green and yellow and those kind of Christmassy colors into their decor. It doesn't necessarily have to be Santa or elves or candy canes. Sometimes it's just the color red. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and as always, let me know which of the items I made over today was your favorite, and if I have inspired you in any way to look at secondhand finds in a new way. And if you're new to the channel and you're not already part of our YouTube family, please hit that subscription button so you can be a member and join all these wonderful people that come and watch our videos and support us with kind comments, likes, and sharing our videos. So again, smash that subscription button if you're not already a member, and we will see you next time, guys, and you can see what we're up to. Thank you. Bye.